All right, welcome to the Let It Fly show. I'm Michael Severe, joined by my partner, Josh Jones, from, of course, Central High School and Creighton University. We are live inside Let It Fly Sports Bar, one of three locations now. Yeah, that's right.
Fancy now.
So, Let It Fly West, which is in Elkhorn.
Yep.
Let It Fly La Vista, which is, of course, in La Vista at the Center City Mall. And then right here, downtown in the Capital District, of course, where you can come down and watch a bunch of games. You can hang with your friends.
Yep.
Get something to eat. You can, as my son has said to me before, I'm just going to chillax. So I'm like, you come down here and chillax if you want.
So what was his context when he said, not his context, but what was he doing when he hit you with that?
This is what he said to me. So I was like, are you off to work today? He goes, yeah. I said, you got any plans? He goes, no, I'm just going to chillax.
I feel you.
I was like,
I feel it. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to chillax.
I can feel that.
Sometimes you got to chillax. Do what you got to do. Also, we appreciate our presenting sponsor, Bud Light. They're constantly making it easy for you to drink, easy for you to enjoy, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter what sport you're watching, easy to drink and easy to enjoy.
Yep.
All right. So I'll make sure I remind you about the happy hour and the reverse happy hours.
Right.
Get the great specials, get the great deals. If you're staying up late, 10 to 1 for the reverse happy hour, 3 to 6 for the regular happy hour. We are going to cover today the huge Bud Crawford parade and celebration that will be happening on Saturday. We're taping this on Wednesday.
Yep.
We'll look back at Nebraska's tough loss to Michigan. We will look ahead to the next 4 games that Nebraska has to play after they have a bye week. And we'll also tell you why Nebraska has now become a pass-first offense.
Right.
Not run the damn ball, but throw the damn ball.
I got some questions when we get to these topics,
got some throw the damn balls going on. Let's start off, though, with the parade happening on Saturday, kicking off at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
There will be downtown in the Mall of America. Not Mall of America. Mall of America is in
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah, it's in Minneapolis. We're going to actually be at Heartland of America Park. Yeah, which is completely.
They know what you mean.
Completely been remodeled. If you haven't been down there, it's nice. They got some food joints down there. They have a really nice, during the summer and spring, place to skate.
Right.
And then during the winter, you can ice skate.
Right.
It's really nice. So down there, that's what it'll be. Thoughts on when we hear 25,000 people lining the streets for the parade, longer than it was last time, and then about 8 to 10,000 people standing down there waiting to hear us talk.
I gotta thank Bud, bro. He put us on the map, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is a relevant time for
Omaha.
Omaha, man. Yeah, so that's all I really got to say about it.
Yeah.
I think he got the key to the city and a piece of property last time.
Yep.
I can't wait to see what he's going to get this time.
I think he's going to get the back door key. So he got the key to all the doors in the front. Now he can be able to go in the side doors, too.
Sure.
And I'm sure there'll be a special announcement as well.
No doubt.
Figuring out what they're going to do to celebrate Bud Crawford, the best fighter on the planet.
And one of the greatest fighter of this modern day generation.
This era?
I think so.
It's a great conversation. I've been listening to Max Kellerman talk to a lot of boxing reporters over the last few weeks about this, or days about this.
Yep.
And most people who are boxing historians will tell you that Sugar Ray Robinson, in terms of
all time.
And then when you start talking about these last 25 years, this 21st century, the names like Mayweather come up, obviously.
Right.
Usyk, what he's done in the heavyweight, he just cleaned out the heavyweight division. Not a lot of time. If you go back to history, there's only been a handful of guys that have literally cleared out the heavyweight division.
What about Klitschko? He held the belt for 10 years.
Yeah, he did. There's a question on exactly why he didn't fight certain people.
Oh, word.
And you can even say, during that stretch too, guys like Bernard Hopkins, we mentioned before.
Yep.
But, Roy Jones, and now part of his is in the 90s.
Man.
But if you took just the middle of Roy's career, just the prime of his career, and put it up against the prime of anybody else's career, it's one of the greatest of all time.
I agree.
And then there's Mayweather, who never lost. And you can criticize maybe who he fought at times and when he fought him, but whenever he fought him, he beat him.
Right. But also what makes him great is how he did it. And when I mean
dominant.
He dominated everyone, and he made more money than anybody ever in the sport.
Yeah.
With Bud, we can't discredit him for his resume because it's not his fault that he had to fight who was in front of him.
Yeah, there were some guys he couldn't fight because he decided on his own to stay with Top Rank, and that made the decision where the people over there with PBC were like, no, and that's good, and I understand that. But now he's suing them, or has sued them, saying, hey, I lost out on some money because you couldn't make these fights.
Right.
But every time they made a fight, he beat that person's ass.
Right.
I mean, there's no other way to say it.
Facts,
you know, if you're the baddest boy and you're the baddest man in the yard of the school, you're the baddest man in the yard of the school. And right now, Ring Magazine just yesterday came out with their pound for pound top 3 right now. And number 3 is Usyk.
Inoue,
and Crawford. Right. That's your top 3 currently right now. And all 3 of those guys have done enough currently to probably be boxing Hall of Famers. And I say probably only because I know Usyk and Crawford, Inoue, we'll see. But he's close to that as well. So you got guys who are Hall of Famers. You got guys who are transcendent at their weight classes. Inoue's beat everybody and beat them all up. I've been following the betting of boxing since probably the late 80s.
Damn.
And I do not remember a guy who consistently was at that kind of minus money. Like you had to bet like minus 2,500 to bet him to win.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous. You would never bet 2,500 to win $100.
You're not
gonna do that. You're not gonna do that, right? It's not gonna happen. And that's what he was. You know, you couldn't even find lines like the only way you could get any decent money on him is if you like bet the exact round and method of victory.
Right.
And you still were getting like minus money.
Right.
So I've never seen anybody that favored.
Yeah.
Mayweather had some.
Yeah.
But anyway, is incredible. And then Usyk is a guy who isn't always favored by a huge number.
Right.
But going in, on that Saturday, I can always just put a parlay together, and the first stop of it is Usyk.
I know.
And then I'm fine with that one. Let me get a whole bunch of other ones together, but that's the one I know is locked up.
For sure. And heavyweight is a little different.
It is different.
Man.
It is different.
Like, easy to get knocked out.
Yeah.
Anybody can get knocked out.
Anything.
And he is consistently not getting knocked out.
And what's interesting about him is we had that era of the super heavyweight. Guys like Lewis, Riddick Bowe, and those guys, right? And he has beaten the big guy.
Yeah.
He has beaten the guy his size, and he's beaten the guy that's faster, smaller than him.
Yeah.
He's beaten all 3 sides of heavyweights, and he's dominant, man.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a guy like Larry Holmes cleaned out the division. There wasn't a lot of competition.
Right.
Ali had more competition during his time with how good Norton was, how good Frazier was, and then a handful of other guys that were really, really good, but couldn't be great because those guys were there.
Right.
And then you can move up a little bit. I mean, Lennox Lewis had his run. You mentioned Klitschko, the run he had. But the belt still changed.
I'm about to say, the belt still changed hands.
It still changed hands. Exactly. It was hard to keep all 3 belts because if you didn't fight this person they wanted you to fight, you couldn't fight. And then you had Vitaly Klitschko, the younger brother, who was also a very talented guy, but they never fought each other. Brothers,
Yeah, I think, I'll be trying not to be biased when I be speaking about Bud.
Yeah, I understand.
But if not, the greatest fighter of this generation, the Terrence Crawford area. The only person that I'm debating about with him is Floyd.
It's Floyd. Yeah, it's Floyd.
That's it.
Here's the thing. In this era, and you can say 25 years or generally about 30 years,
30 years, yeah.
In these 30 years, by far he's on the Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
So when you're going to get to 4, and one of those 4 is Bud.
Yeah. There you go.
So Bet Online AG released this question. Will there be a Canelo Crawford rematch? The yes, minus 200. So they think it will happen. And the no is plus 150. They're not just giving away money. They think this is going to happen. Now, the note is the fight must take place before the end of 2026 to be graded a winner for this bet. And if there is a rematch, who's the favorite? Bud Crawford minus 190, which is a bigger favorite, really, than what Canelo was for part by the end of it.
Exactly.
And then Canelo Alvarez plus 160 if they end up fighting.
Right.
Other possible opponents. Let's go weight classes. So super middleweight, David Benavidez, right? Yeah. And then Hazma Sherez, right? Those are the 2 guys in super middleweight.
Yep.
Hazma is undefeated. He's the number 1 ranked guy. So if you're going to fight somebody, he'd be the mandatory
for all the belts.
For all the belts. At middleweight, there's Lara. He'd have to go down back to 160. And I don't know if he'd want to do that. He can win the
belt there.
He could. There's no doubt. Then he could drop down to 154. And probably the biggest money fight out of all of these fights, other than the fight with Canelo, is probably Boots.
Yeah, Boots ain't going to be, because Bud ain't going to 147.
And Boots would have to come to 154. Yeah, and he can. I think he can go 154.
I think he's a better 154 pounder than a 147.
I think he can go to 154. But I think they could. I think you could promote that fight because there is a word out there, and I'm not saying it's real, but there's word out there like, oh, Bud's duck. He ducked Boots. He should have fought him.
I heard that.
That's been out there, and so since it's out there, you can take that to promote the fight.
But I ain't saying he ducked him.
Oh, I don't think
I'm just saying I heard it. I'm just saying I heard
the word is out there. From Boots' camp. They're saying he ducked me.
No doubt.
And so because of that, you could build the promotions and marketing off of that. Mm-hmm. But whoever he fights, he's going to make a bunch of money. And most likely, the way it looks, it would be Canelo again. Yeah. That's just something Bud's got to decide. To me,
I feel like at this point,
he was a challenge. Benitez. I mean,
Benavidez.
If he wants a challenge.
I'm about to say, I'm going after, it's not about the legacy fight. It's a money fight for me.
Yeah.
So it would have to be the Benavidez.
Yeah.
Or Canelo too.
Because I don't believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Nobody.
How old is
Benavidez? I think he's younger.
Well, I know he's younger. But I mean, how much younger is he than Canelo and Bud?
Like, I would say
20. Is he in the 20s?
I thought he was
Let's see where he is. He's only 28.
Oh.
So you be fighting a guy 10 years younger than you.
What a fight.
Fighting a guy who is your size. Yeah. He's had a fight before at light heavy.
He's just taller.
So he's taller. It would be the challenge.
It'd be fun.
If you say you want a challenge.
That's his most challenging fight.
That's the one that I think
you want to challenge.
But
the crazy thing about Bud is anybody can be a nobody.
That's what he says. That's what he says. That's the line.
He might beat his ass too.
You'd be like, this is the greatest ever. He ain't nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
He's jump. But you said before. Yeah.
My shit that he said to Canelo was, so, okay, I ain't fought nobody.
I'm about to fight you.
Exactly. I'm fighting you, though.
I'm fighting you, though. That's right.
That's classic Bud.
Yeah, it has been an incredible run. Saturday's going to be amazing.
It is.
Honored to be a part of it. If you haven't already decided to come down and check it out, I recommend doing it early. Yes. Catch the first part of the parade and then sprint over, find some parking down there at Heartland of America Park and hang out with us. And we'll be there helping to MC it. All the people you expect to be there, entire Camp Crawford, they'll all be there. You'll have a bunch of politicians will be there. And Matt Rule will be there.
Some celebrity guests.
And some celebrity guests as well. So it'll be a blast. And from what I've heard, the video they did, like the tribute one from everybody, the last one was really, really good. I heard this one is even better.
Damn.
So I look forward to that. Nebraska on Saturday falls to Michigan 30-27. Twice in the fight, Michigan had a 10-point lead. And each time, battled back. Mm-hmm. Nebraska battles back. They do a lot of things. They just couldn't, as we talked about, when I talked about last week, they couldn't stop the run.
They couldn't stop that run.
They couldn't stop the run. Almost 300 yards rushing for Michigan in that game. And of the three big runs, that was 166 of Michigan's 391. So 166 of their yards were on 3 plays.
So that's the difference of the game.
That's the difference of the game. And when Nebraska got inside the low red zone, they got stopped once. And then in the red zone, they missed a field goal. That's 10 points they missed out on, or 6 if you say you kick the field goal. They missed out on those points. The difference is when Michigan got in those opportunities, they didn't fail. Right. They actually got points. That's the difference.
So what's your energy with it? It's like I heard Damon Benning kind of speak his takeaways on it. Uh-huh. And he was speaking from a inside the huddle standpoint, things they need to fix. Yeah. It wasn't no blind optimistic energy. It was just all about this what you got to fix, starting at the top, starting at this, going all the way down.
There's 2 things they need to fix, right? Yeah. The first thing is protection.
Yep.
So 49 times is how many times Dylan dropped back. 24 of them, so almost half of them, he was pressured. If you add in all the pressures in the game, they had 36 pressures out of the amount of plays. So Nebraska, I think, ran 74 or 73 plays, and out of that, 36 of them pressure. That meaning they were on the other line of scrimmage. Michigan was on this line of scrimmage. By the time the play was over, they were on Nebraska's line of scrimmage with pressure. And so because of that, they need to fix that. Whether it's doing something else at the tackle spot, committing to put Elijah Pritchard in there and go, look, I know you're going to give us some problems, but we got to play you because you're the better guy at left tackle. Figure out what they're going to do at right tackle because Prohaska had a lot of problems as well. That's the first thing they need to do.
But what about that statement?
You got to protect your 5-star.
Remember you said to me that sometimes you can do everything you can, but either your guys are not good enough or a team is just that good.
Well, that's what happens with Michigan. Michigan has, just off the top of my head, they have 5 guys who are on that defense who are NFL players, and they have at least 2, maybe 3 that are first rounders.
Gotcha.
Number 1, that kid from the first snap, literally after the second snap, I tweeted out, 1 is going to be a problem.
Right.
There's nothing they can do with him. He's too athletic. He's too fast. He's got too many moves, and they're not good enough to block him. Now, the good news is they're not going to face defensive lines or defensive fronts as good as the one that Michigan had. They're not. Listen, USC's got some talent. USC's got a cat who plays like the outside linebacker spot.
Yep.
He's 6'5" with a wingspan of 6'9". It's like a condor is coming at you, like a giant bird as he comes around the corner. And then he's one of the 3 or 4 athletic guys they have on their front. So they'll give you some problems. They're not as good as Michigan.
Got you.
Penn State, we'll see what they are. We're going to find out everything you need to know about Penn State on Saturday. They play Oregon. Mm-hmm. After that game, you'll know what you need to know about Penn State. And Iowa always has a good front. They're going to give you problems as well. But the majority of the teams they play will not have that kind of defense.
Yeah, I was about to say something about Iowa too, but you already said that.
Iowa does stuff, man.
You already said that.
They will do things.
Yeah.
2 big throws that happened on. So the other thing that they need to fix. So first of all, they got to be able to protect their 5-star.
Right.
And then on the other side, obviously they got to be able to stop the run.
Yeah,
that's a given.
Right.
But on top of that, you have to be able to put pressure on the other team on the other side of the line, like I said.
Right.
And you have to either put pressure on when they try to run the ball
too comfortable.
or when they're trying to throw the ball.
I mean,
and when it all came down, the last long drive, 17-play, 8-minute drive, when that came down, there were 3 opportunities Nebraska had to make stops on 3rd down.
Correct.
3rd and 5, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8.
Yep.
You have to have, and I've said this since bruz. You got to have bruz.
Yep.
A bruh is somebody that's going to say, don't worry about it.
Right.
I'm going to make this play.
Yep.
So the first time, 3rd and 5, they threw the ball out. A little bunch set over there. They throw it to number 10.
Yep.
Sierra Wright's got a chance. Goes over the blocker, gets him on the shoulder, slides off. He makes that tackle. It's 4th and 5. They're punting to him, right? Next play. Same situation. 3rd and 9 this time.
Yep.
And they decide to blitz. That's fine. But they blitz into a screen. The screen was executed. There were 1 guy out there for Nebraska, the bruh, John McCullough. Hard play, couldn't make the stop.
Right.
First down.
Exactly.
Then the 3rd time, they decide to back out. They back out, and they run the ball, the quarterback right into it, and he gains the 10 yards, 11 yards, and that's it. That's game.
Right.
Because if you stop them at any point there, you either force a punt or you force a very long field goal instead of a short, easy field goal to go up 10. That's the game.
But what about this, though? We look at it on paper, or we just look at the score box. They only lost by 3. So
let me look at me. I'm on this camera here.
Please.
I'm walking in right now to the close game anonymous meeting. All right. My name is Michael Severe, and I'm not talking about games being close. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 plays either way you win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they invent a 3rd column, win, loss, and close loss, I don't care.
There you go.
It's over. You can't be talking about close losses anymore. And honestly, that game wasn't that close.
Right.
They went down and got a late touchdown.
Right.
And maybe if they get an onside kick, which is really hard to get,
right.
And it becomes 3. Look, anybody who watched that game knows Michigan was in control of the game the majority of the time. They're up 10-0.
I mean,
they're up 17-7.
Right.
They're up 27-17. They were in control of that game.
Right.
30-20. They were in control of that game. Yes, Nebraska made it a 3-point game, but let's not talk about that anymore.
Facts. There you
either
go.
Win the game or you lose the game. I don't want to hear it was close. It's just we're past that. That was nice for first year and the second year. Now we're in year 3.
Right.
In year 3, it's about winning games.
There you go. The reason why I asked that is because I got people, texting me, blind optimistic.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And I'm like, gosh,
yeah. And that's fine. If you're a fan, be as optimistic as you want. I'm looking at it as I'm not a fan. I cover this team.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what I know at this point. And you know what? Matt Rule said it on Monday.
Yep.
He said, we're not talking about close losses.
No, hell no.
He said, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 plays. He showed them 45 plays that made the difference in the game.
Dang.
45 of them. Little things.
So if you cut that down to half, you win the game.
And it's funny because the game of football, and my favorite way to express it is a violent game of chess.
Mm-hmm.
You move, I move. Who wins that move?
Got you.
I mentioned a second ago on that 2nd, 3rd down, that last drive. Nebraska's move was we're blitzing.
Yep.
We're sitting in the house. Michigan's counter was rook to king 5. Dumped it out there for the screen. First down. They won that battle. And every single play is a violent game of chess.
Facts.
And they had more counters.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, whether it's players, coaching, preparation, whatever else,
who reading these audibles? It's they were prepared.
They did a very good job.
Yeah.
And Nebraska had their share.
Mm-hmm.
They made plays. Dylan Raiola made about 6 throws
in
that game that were pro-level throws.
Gotcha.
Like we used to call them Sunday throws.
Yep.
He made 6 Sunday throws. He made 2 of them. One, making a guy miss a free runner.
Yep.
He makes the free runner miss, and then he throws that crossing route to Dane, and he catches the ball.
No doubt.
The throw he made to Barney on that tight post, great throw. He made several of those throughout the game.
Yep.
He did what was necessary to win the game. Everyone else around him, the lack of being able to have big play. They had 2 10-yard runs in the first drive.
Yep.
The first play, Emmett Johnson had a 14-yard run, and a few plays later, Mekhi Nelson had a 12-yard run or 11-yard run. They didn't have another double-digit run the rest of the game.
Right.
In the second half, Emmett Johnson had 5 rushes for 10 yards. You're not going to win in the Big Ten if you can't stop the run and run the ball.
Yeah.
And they're 13th right now in stopping the run and 16th running the ball. That's yards per rush.
Yep.
You can't win that way in the league. You just can't. And you can throw the ball around. Don't get me wrong. And Nebraska's doing it. They are currently, listen to these numbers. So in the Big Ten, they're the number 1 team in the Big Ten in first downs by passing the ball, right? They're only 8th in rushing first downs.
Okay.
Number 1 in passing offense in yards. Number 1 in attempts. Number 1 in completions. And number 1's in completion percentage. They're number 1 in all of those passing ones. And nationally, they're 3rd in college football in yards, 7th in attempts, 2nd in completions, and 1st. Dylan Raiola he's 2nd, but as a team, they're number 1 in completion percentage.
Okay.
They are throwing the ball football game right now. Team right now.
Let me ask you this. Quarterback for quarterback, who had a better game?
Well, I would say Dylan had a better game overall because his completion percentage, but quarterbacks are only judges on one thing, and it's wins.
Right.
And so one guy won, the other guy lost. The run that Underwood had for the 37-yarder for touchdowns, a great call. The play was perfect. He was untouched. He had a couple other runs that were pretty good. He missed some throws. Had a couple drops too. I think if you were going to compare them just by stats, you'd say that Dylan had the better game.
Yeah.
But in the end, like I said, it's the only position that when you look up them on Wikipedia and they're looking up all the stats, they talk about how many games they won.
I know, man.
How many starts did they have? How many games did they win?
I know. That's matters.
Quarterback.
That's
quarterback, man. They're also number 1 in Big Ten in 30-yard passes.
Wow.
So passes 30 or more, they're number 1 in that. Dylan Raiola currently 77.6 completion rate.
Dude, he's nice.
That's ridiculous.
I try to tell
12
people.
touchdowns, 1 interception. He's got a quarterback rating of 180.12, one of the top 7th highest in all of college football.
Right.
But they're throwing the ball 38 times a game, and you have to figure out a way to balance that out with being able to run the ball. And Dylan's not going to run, right? He's not the running quarterback.
Right.
So it's got to come from Emmett Johnson. It's got to come from some of that inside handoff, jet motion that you run with a Barney. It's got to come from Mekhi Nelson. It's got to come from Isaiah Mosey. It's got to come from all those guys.
Right.
And on Saturday, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Man.
And to be able to run the ball in the Big Ten, yes, the offensive line's got to be good.
Yep.
But vision of your running backs, right? And you got to keep them fresh. If Emmett is the only guy you can count on, I can count on in the fourth quarter he won't be fresh.
There you go.
And he's got to be fresh, and that's a big part of that. Interesting numbers when you look at Nebraska, just overall.
Yep.
And you look at them then in those 2 games versus Power 4, so Cincinnati and against Michigan, excuse me. They're 10th in the Big Ten in rushing attempts, just against when you're playing against Power 4 teams.
Yeah.
9th in Big Ten in rushing yards. 13th, that's what I was talking about, in the Big Ten in yards per carry. 4.2 is not going to get it.
No, hell no.
Not in this league. Not in this league.
Not in the 3rd year.
Not in this league. And you have to be so much better when you get into conference play.
Right.
Because you take away the Houston Christians and you take away the Akrons, and I don't care who you're playing. You're playing Maryland. You're playing Northwestern.
Right.
Teams, they may not be very good.
Yeah.
But they're going to try to do those 2 things better than you and try to beat you.
Exactly.
So Nebraska has struggled versus Michigan. They average, this is net yards after you take away the sack numbers, they average 1.39 yards per carry, less than 2 yards per carry. They lost 51 yards in that game rushing because of the sacks.
I mean, with those yards, do we not got the athletes, or what's the deal?
There's a couple different things. One, when you fall behind, especially when you fall behind 10, you're more likely to throw the ball more.
Yeah, for sure. Make them big plays.
That happens a little bit more. You get away from the run.
Gotcha.
And I think also that in the minds of those offensive linemen, especially those tackles, they were getting beaten so much.
Yep.
I don't know if they ever really got comfortable in the game.
No, yeah, right. I can see that.
You got to get into a rhythm to be a good running team.
Yeah.
All 5 of those guys, they call them dancing bears. All 5 of those guys need to work together. They're running outside zone. They're all stepping the same way. They're running inside zone. These 2 guys are taking on. They're going in here. If you're running duo, you got these 2 guys going here. And you got to be able to do the things all together perfectly. And I don't know if they ever were. Mentally, and I think it'd be like playing a basketball game, and in the first 6 minutes, somebody comes out like Creighton did against Villanova at one time.
Yeah,
and
9 threes.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my god, now I'm completely out of my game. You know, it doesn't care how good you play after that.
Yeah, no doubt.
So the Power 4 numbers were even worse than the ones I said. So that was the overall numbers. The Power 4 numbers is they're running for 2.28 yards per carry in the 67 carries they've had versus Cincinnati and Michigan.
Dang.
And overall for the game, they got 76 yards a game and 33.5 attempts per game. That is horrible.
If there's any sense of urgency to fix this, it's right now.
Well, this is bye week.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Fix it now.
Exactly.
Fix it now.
That's my point.
And you get the bye week this week. Give them a couple days off. Let them get refreshed. Put them to work. Figure out a couple of things. After the bye week, you get 3-1 Michigan State. Get them at home. Then you go on the road for 2, 4-0 Michigan, 2-1 Minnesota, and then 1-2 Northwestern. Each one of those games. Michigan State.
Yep.
They've scored a ton, right? They have scored a ton. Their defense is horrible.
Yeah, very winnable game.
They're 15th in the Big Ten in opponents' points per play. They're giving up 30 a game. Ooh. They're giving up 30 a game. Against BC, who doesn't have a dominant offense, BC moved up and down the field on them. USC game was close. USC got one of those times where you get a big lead and you kind of pull back a little bit, and the other team makes a couple of big plays and all of a sudden it looks close.
Yeah.
I watched that game. It was not as close as it looked.
Right.
So the only team giving up more points a game in the Big Ten is UCLA, and they're bad.
Yeah.
They just fired their coach.
Right.
Maryland is 4-0. They beat Wisconsin on the road, but you really don't know what Maryland is yet because the first 3 games they played against nobody. They got a really fun quarterback, but I think the jury is still out. They play Washington in 2 weeks. Now, Washington plays Ohio State. Then they play Maryland. So I don't know if Washington will be in the same mental game that they are for Ohio State, but still, that'll be Maryland's first true competition against Washington, who, by the way, has the second best offense in the Big Ten currently.
Right.
USC and then Washington. Then they go on a road to Minnesota, which is always a tough place to play. They have not beaten Minnesota in Minnesota since PJ Fleck's been there.
Dang.
Yeah. I think he started in 2017 or 16, somewhere in there.
It was 2017.
Minnesota's coming off a loss to Cal.
Yeah.
I think Cal's pretty good. Cal's got a really good young quarterback.
Yeah.
But they have a bye this week, and then next week they play Rutgers. Well, they had a bye last week. They play Rutgers coming up. And then Northwestern, as I mentioned, Northwestern beat an FCS team. They lost to Tulane and Oregon. The other 2 games they played combined 57-17.
Yep.
So Northwestern's really struggling. So what do you think? Those 4 games, home against Michigan State, at Minnesota, at Maryland, home for Northwestern, what would the record be in those 4 games?
2-2.
Ooh, really?
Mm-hmm.
If they are 2-2 in those games, okay, which would make them 5-3,
mm-hmm.
and then they go into the toughest 3-game stretch of the rest of the season, where they play USC, UCLA's not much now, and then they play Iowa and they play Penn State. You're talking a 7-win team at max.
All right, let's talk team by team.
Okay, so you think they play Michigan State at home next week?
That's a win.
That's a win. So that's 1.
Worst defense.
Then they go to Maryland.
Yes.
And then they go to Minnesota.
A win. That's a loss.
You lost at Minnesota, and then they come back home and they play Northwestern.
That's a tough one.
No, it's not.
I think so.
I think they're gonna beat Northwestern.
Well, I say at best.
Okay.
At best, you say 3-1, but there's a possibility for 2-2.
Yeah, I think 3-1 would be the worst case scenario for those 4 teams.
Yeah, I respect that.
I will tell you, they will be favored in these games by anywhere from 4 to 8.
I think 2
in all of those games. You say 2-2, okay? Then that means again they play. Coming out of that, they go to USC.
Mm-hmm.
No, they go home for USC. Go to UCLA, which is not a tough one.
No, UCLA is a win.
UCLA is a win.
That's a win.
And then they play Penn State at Penn State.
Tough one.
probably a loss.
Yeah.
And then they play Iowa at home to end the season.
Tough one.
It sounds like you're talking about like 7-5 or 6-6 with your numbers.
I mean, I just kind of watched.
It was one loss.
I get that.
It was one loss, though, against the best team. So they're going to play 3 really good teams this year, in my opinion. You play
Penn State,
Michigan, Penn State, Iowa.
and Iowa.
So you can say USC's on there, too. So
all the other ones are winnable.
So 8-4.
But do you see during this week of practice that it's just about to change? Well, no.
Do I think they're going to play better? Yes.
Let me retract my statement.
I think they'll play better.
All right, I'm going to retract my statement.
All right.
I think because of who Coach Rule is, 3-1.
Okay.
I don't think he going to let it be 2-2.
So 3-1.
Yeah.
Probably one of them is the road game, either against Maryland or Minnesota.
I don't think I believe in Coach Rule.
All right, so 3-1.
3-1.
So then at that point, you're
6-3.
6-3.
There you go. There you go.
No, you're not. You're 5.
No, you're 5-2. 5-2.
5-2 with 4 left.
I just think that who Coach Rule is, he not letting it happen.
Okay.
Like that.
All right. I think they can win all 4. I understand 3-1 because it's even winning 4 in a row in the Big Ten, no matter who you're playing, is not that easy.
No.
Especially when 2 of them are on the road.
Yeah, right.
Nebraska basketball, by the way, open practice on Monday.
That's exciting.
And they open the practice up on Tuesday to the media. Those guys got a chance to see it. It looks like your starting 5 will most likely be Rink Mass, back off his injury.
Yep.
Burke.
Yep.
Price Sanford from Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Connor Segan coming back.
That's the transfer from Iowa.
Price is the transfer. Connor was in Wisconsin last year, 2 years ago.
Got you.
And then Jamarcus Lawrence, who's back. So we're thinking maybe that's the starting 5, but it could change up. That's kind of, but they are very excited. And then Creighton starts practice today. We're taping this on Wednesday.
Yep.
They starts it. They're 6 weeks away from their opener.
Crazy.
That's against South Dakota. And they kick off their exhibition with Iowa State on the 17th.
Right.
Nebraska on the 18th plays BYU.
I know.
That's a good one.
That is fun.
That is a good one. That is a good one. Yeah.
I'm excited.
I am too. You know what? I think both teams have the chance with the talent they have to contend for obviously the top half of their conference. Now, contending for the top half of the Big East is different than contending for the top half of the Big Ten.
For sure.
I understand that.
For sure.
But if Nebraska can figure their way into the 8-7 spot somehow, and the way that happens is if, bless you,
thank you,
that Asijan shoots the 3 well, Sanford shoots the 3 well, and Rink Mass coming back and gets back in control of that, he's running the team from the top.
I agree.
Then I don't see why they can't. Tough schedule always. You're playing the Big Ten.
Yeah, Creighton, I think they always got good recruiting classes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the new norm.
Yeah, they went into
Nebraska, I think the pride and the returners is what really get them going.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, they do get the new transfers and things like that. Nebraska recruits mature guys.
They got some big dudes who I don't think they'll play right away. But everybody says they look good in practice, all athletic. It'll be interesting to see how they work those guys in.
Right.
Because they probably are, they're 8-9 deep minimum.
I'm pull up on them one day.
Yeah, you should go to practice.
I think I'm going to go to practice.
You should go to practice.
Yeah.
Call ahead.
Yeah.
And say, can I come check out practice? I do a podcast. I talk about Nebraska basketball. I just want to see a little practice.
I'm going to go pull up.
Check out with Seamus McKnight.
Okay.
Ask Seamus, can I go to practice? He'll tell you when the open practice is for the media.
Yep.
And then you go down there.
I got you.
Pretty easy.
Yep.
Anything you want to add for this? We don't have a guest this week.
No, not this week.
We tried. We wanted to get some of the Crawford people.
Everybody's
Team Crawford.
busy, man.
Everybody's busy getting ready for the parade, everything else. But of course, next week we're going to have some.
No, I'm excited for Saturday.
Yeah, me too.
It's a once in a lifetime.
It's the second time we've done it.
Right. Like generational fighter.
It's a generational fighter. Yeah, that's no doubt.
Funny. Once in a lifetime fighter that we're about to honor.
Yeah.
And I haven't been more interested in his storyline. The more fights he wins, the better the storylines go, because it's like, who he gonna fight next?
So much pride in the city, so much pride in the state. He's identified as Omaha's own, as Nebraska's own. So yeah, come on out for that. It's gonna be a blast. If you're looking for the parade route, look on the paper. Just look up online. It's online. They had some changes because of some of the construction, so they got to come off a farm at one point and go on Harney. But check it out. Look it up. And if nothing else, meet us down at the end.
Yep.
Heartland of America Park. Probably about 11:45 or so. It'll get underway, and that'll go on for about an hour, and then we'll be out of there. And I'll be heading to Sioux City for band competition. Not for me.
Yeah.
For my son.
For sure.
Yeah. Again, I want to remind you always, when you're checking us out on YouTube, to subscribe and like. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever, same thing. Like, subscribe.
Yep.
Also, Don't forget, our presenting sponsor is Bud Light. They make it
easy.
They make it as easy as Nebraska volleyball taking care of business on a given night. Who's playing right now as we are watching them as we're taping this. So yeah, check that out. Making it easy to drink and easy to enjoy as well. Josh, take us away.
Hey, Josh Jones here with Michael Severe. You know how we do it. It's a Let It Fly show.